please be advised there are spoilers ahead related to the property being watched and or discussed. Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Ashamoji TV, where I like to watch, react, and just share my 2 cents about a couple of properties related to sci-fi and fantasy. In today's video, I'm happy to share with you my condensed reaction to episode 6 of the first season of Fringe, titled The Cure. But of course, before I press play, let me quickly recap what I've understood in episode 5 that I've just recently watched while I'm recording, because it's a binge watch process of 2 episodes per week, okay? So I watched it about going on 10 minutes ago, and the main thing really that I take away from that episode that leads into this episode, or 2 main things, is we had a case now where someone has the powers to control electricity, or more or less give off very powerful current. I'm probably not using the right terms, but I was calling him, Electro Man. So it's someone who basically was experimented on by a new scientist, not Walter this time, a new scientist, a mad scientist that they've introduced into the show, and he gets locked up at the end of the episode, which I thought was unfortunate, because I was like, he'd be kind of the good villain to kind of, not villain, but, to me, he looked like he would have been the perfect type of mad scientist to follow along in subsequent episodes. But nonetheless, the whole point of that was to show that there are people out there like that scientist who have an interest in using humans for testing purposes that leads to catastrophe for the most part. But what I've perceived to be the main thing that was happening in this episode was Olivia seeing John Scott. It seemed like illusions that was probably based on her grief or her lack of wanting to let him go emotionally, until Walter noted that she hasn't been sleeping very well, and she kind of opens up a little bit about that. And then he drops this massive reveal that when she was in the tank in episode 1 and she connected to John's consciousness while he was unconscious and on the verge of death, somehow his consciousness or residual aspects of it, I think that's what they had said, something along those lines, stayed in her mind. And so she really is somewhat communicating with a version of him that's still within her mind, psychically. That's the best way I can kind of articulate it. And according to Walter, the only way that those apparitions of John will go away is if she allows her mind to expel it and not hang on to him based on her emotions or her feelings for John. Which is not the easiest thing, because the episode pretty much ends out where she finds this secret cellar office that her illusion of John actually led her to. And she finds out that not only was he investigating stuff related to the pattern, but he also had more knowledge about things that apparently the Fringe science team have no knowledge about. And she also finds an engagement ring in one of his personal stash boxes that shows or proves that he did actually really love her and he was actually going to propose to her at some point. Yeah, so a lot of that drama. And so far, in my opinion, I think that's going to play into this back and forth of her communicating with John, with the illusion of him popping up at convenient places to help her along with her case, because he always gives her tidbits about what's going on with the case. And now it's interesting, too, to know as a viewer, and she doesn't know as a character, that he's actually alive at Massive Dynamic, and they're doing all kinds of testing with him there. So I'm looking forward to seeing that bridge come together between what's really happening with John Scott in the real world and how she manages the John Scott in her mind. Huh? Crazy stuff, but I'm loving it. So without further ado, here is my condensed reaction to episode 5 of the first season of Fringe. Milford. I'm going to know all about Boston after this series, right? Talk about dropping somebody back home. Alright, so they have hazmat suits on. She's an experiment that they're letting go in the middle of the road. Honestly, this whole thing with the observer is genius because now I feel like on high alert to pay attention to every friggin' thing just to spot him.
Hey, do you need a menu?
I'm like, is that him back there?
You okay? Do you want some food? There's a wicked good vegetable soup. And call Marty, would you?
Marty? How come?
There's some woman here who might be in trouble. She might need some help.
I'm scared what she's gonna do. What's gonna be her problem this time? Oh, so Marty is the cop.
I'll just have a soda. How you doing tonight? You live around here?
So did they wipe out her mind? The people who dropped her off?
Where's home?
I don't remember. They did things.
Who did things?
They gave me a red medicine.
Yeah? So, what was the red medicine?
They didn't tell me.
Oh, she's gonna explode.
It's alright.
Score of this already.
And a blue one there was blue.
Ma'am, I think you should come with me.
No.
I can help you.
No.
No, you're not in any trouble.
No, stop! Stop it!
You need to talk to somebody.
Stop it!
I've got a 5150. Can you make sure that Hannah's available tonight?
What the? Oh, okay. Now I know what her powers are. You're next, Marty. Oh, shit. Oh, she's bleeding too. Oh my god. Okay, when I said she was gonna explode, I meant that figuratively. Yo, I'm loving this damn show. And very similar to the Electro Man in episode 5, heightened emotion, right? So that's a trigger? It's a trigger for a lot of the stuff in shows like this, right? Intense anger with Bruce Banner.
What?
Oh, that doesn't bother you?
Are you kidding? That man falls asleep counting pi to the 101st digit. That's soothing.
Oh, really? That would drive me nuts.
What's up? What's on your mind?
Short fuse today, I guess.
Indeed. The tension in your voice indicates that you're carrying a heavy psychic burden, tortured by
Hey, Walter? I think she liked it better when you were humming.
Also, Peter knows about this. Right? He was alluding to John.
Emily Kramer. Last night was the first time anyone's seen her in 2 weeks since she was reported missing by her parents. Police officer inside responded to a sight disturbance, which would explain why we found her in handcuffs. Curiously, the level of radiation coming from Emily's body is almost 3 times as great as the rest.
Are you saying that she was the source?
Don't know. Dr. Bishop, any thoughts?
Yeah.
Where can I get one of those white suits?
Yeah. There's no head.
She was sick. Most likely Bellini's lymphocyemia. Cracked bruising on her neck and upper arms. Rash on her torso. And what's more curious, this woman seems to have been in remission. Cured even. The rash appears to be healing.
The title is The Cure. She's probably looking for one.
I need this body and the headless one taken back to my lab.
Walter, her disease, if there's no cure...
Well, that's a question. And one which we should pose to whoever was treating her. What exactly happened here?
That's only 2 questions.
Oh, the third question. Could I get some of this onion soup?
You might want to try the veggie soup.
Nadeem Patel. Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for taking the trouble to talk to me. Emily was found dead last night.
What? How?
I'm not at liberty to discuss that with you. And I hate troubling you about this, but we understand that Emily was suffering from a fatal disease that had recently gone into remission.
That's right.
The circumstances surrounding Emily's death were unusual, and it's possible that her condition may have been a factor.
I'll get you her records if that'll help.
Yeah.
She was finally starting to live again.
Yeah, she can relate.
It's just like throwing around the old pigskin.
What's that smell?
Hyacinth, my third favorite flower, associated in mythology with rebirth. In this case, it's cruelly ironic.
It's coming from her?
Indeed, which indicates either a mutation at the genetic level or she was eating flowers.
I'll pick the first option.
We don't think she ran away. Look at your eyes.
So she was being held against her will.
That if she had a proclivity for sexual bondage. Scientific observation, not a judgment. Some of my fondest memories. Oh, Walter, stop.
Yep.
There's also this. Subcutaneous injection marks. She's being given medicine intravenously.
So whoever was holding her captive was giving her drugs.
Yes.
Another mad scientist.
You okay?
Should I be? So how'd she end up in the diner?
Good question.
Did she escape?
Perhaps not. There are two distinct methods of scientific experimentation. Whoever did this wanted to make sure what they did to her was working.
So there was something inside her that killed those people at the diner in her...
Noggin? I'm not sure yet.
Missing persons called in another case 4 hours ago. Her name is Claire Williams. She was diagnosed with Bellini's lymphemia 3 years ago.
Someone's targeting people with the disease.
That, or it's one hell of a coincidence.
Ken Williams? Olivia Dunham, Charlie Francis, FBI.
Claire, did you find her?
I'm afraid we don't have new information. But we do need to ask you a few questions. Her name is Emily Kramer. She suffered from the same disease as your wife.
What happened to her?
Do you know her, Mr. Williams?
No, I don't think so. We don't know anyone else with Bellini's.
That wasn't very convincing.
What we went through fighting Claire's disease. And the constant pain. And then... it was like a miracle.
A miracle?
She started getting better. And the pain went away.
She went into remission?
About 6 weeks ago. Please find my wife. Please find her for me.
With her head still on. I'm hoping for a happy ending. They'll find her.
What's happening?
Oh.
The last one was a test. This one counts.
Use Mr. Papaya.
Mr. Papaya.
Here. This is upsetting, as he is the friendliest of fruits.
Walter.
We have gooification.
Is that the scientific term?
Wait,
It's an
show's
explode.
not over yet.
Gene's mad at that.
The beam emits high-energy microwaves which cause Mr. Papaya's molecules to vibrate rapidly, causing friction and producing heat. It's like how a microwave oven cooks food. Only in Emily Kramer's case, she was the oven.
Wait, am I missing something? How is it that Emily is, cooking people?
I believe that these microscopic capsules are designed to release just the right amount of radiation at specific times to cure her disease.
So you think
At
these
specific
capsules saved your
times.
life?
Think of it like time-release chemotherapy.
Oh, okay.
Whatever was injected into her bloodstream caused these capsules to burst all at once, sending out a microwave blast, and perhaps given her own head was the source of energy. Kaboom!
Oh, that's terrible.
You think Patel had something to do with this?
I don't know. But 83% of kidnap victims are abducted by someone they know. I'm gonna go and talk to Emily Kramer's parents.
I'm noticing certain uncomfortable similarities between this and some of the other incidents we've been covering lately. More humans being used as guinea pigs. My point is, if this is part of the pattern, what if these people aren't just experiments? What if somebody is preparing for something? No. Don't you need a warrant for this? Hey, Olivia, stop.
Coming from the guy who had no problems breaking in his old house.
Right into a dead girl's things?
The only hope we have of finding a solid lead, so please help me.
What are you doing in here? Who are you? What are you doing in my daughter's room?
Mrs. Kramer, we're terribly sorry about your loss. We're with the FBI.
FBI. Today. You come here today.
Mrs. Kramer, please listen to me. Another girl's life is at stake.
This actress, I just watched her on Ozark.
Emily and Claire both have the disease. That's how they met. Here. They became such good friends.
Common denominator, husband. His argument wasn't convincing. That's a sign of good acting for me to pick up on that.
Why'd you lie to me, Mr. Williams?
We met Emily at the hospital, waiting for blood tests. She and Claire started talking, sharing horror stories about the disease. They became friends. Started thinking about what we could do if we pooled our resources.
So Claire and Emily were treating themselves.
We didn't have a choice. And we were desperate. 3 months ago, we found the cure.
Time-release radioactive capsules.
I don't understand. Why lie?
Because the people we love are depending on it. I couldn't take the chance you'd stop that.
Mr. Williams, we will need the names of the other patients involved.
I could give you some, but I don't know all of them. And you'll have to ask Dr. Nadeem Patel.
Emily's doctor.
It's like every character they introduce have something to do with it.
Is that my Bellini's medication? Tell me what you're doing. Please just...
We know that this makes you better.
This makes you a ticking time bomb.
This will make you special.
We know how it worked, Dr. Patel. Ken Williams told us everything. What we don't know is who else was involved.
I'm not responsible for this. Not this. All I do is give them updates.
Who's they?
Entropus.
The drug company?
You should just walk away. You have no idea who you're dealing with, what they're
I
capable
need
of.
a name, Dr. Patel.
So this time around, it's a drug company now.
Dr. Patel?
I swear, there was only supposed to be updates.
Dr. Patel,
Doctor,
put the gun on
I
the
hear.
ground now.
Do you want a name? David Estabrook.
Hey, I found him. David Estabrook.
Oh,
He heads up Intrepid's Pharmaceutical Research Division. By all accounts, he is solely responsible for a guns-blazing congressional lobbying campaign that allowed Intrepid to dig into some of their more controversial R&D. He's in Manhattan today. He's speaking on the Humanitarian Aid Forum. Listen, Liv. Even if the doctor was right, even if Estabrook had something to do with what happened with those women, I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say he's not gonna confess.
I want to see it in his eyes, Charlie. I need to know it's him.
Get him on record somehow.
I followed your work since Yale. 3 degrees, including a PhD in medicinal neurobiology. I couldn't even get through biochem without cheating off my roommate.
Appeal to his ego.
Science and technology have reached a point where our means are finally catching up with our imagination. And the only thing preventing us from doing truly visionary work are these moral-based restrictions that lawmakers put up in the name of public policy.
Nice.
It isn't about the money. It is about the resolve.
Not what she was
I
expecting.
haven't been entirely honest with you. I don't work for Baxo, but I do know a colleague of yours, Dr. Nadeem Patel.
Identity theft is a federal crime, Amanda.
So is kidnapping and murder, and it's Agent Dunham.
Tell me, what did you
Wow,
look at?
straight up.
I already got it.
You're an attractive young woman. I'm sure you want to start a family one day. It would be a shame if anything got in your way.
Wow, that's quite a threat. Without being a threat. But quite threatening. And give it up for Anna Torv. She's great.
Hey.
I understand you paid a little visit to David Estabrook.
This travels fast. I was just about to type
In
it.
public, in a hotel bar. Trying to intimidate such a high-profile suspect in a murder investigation is reckless at
Claire
best.
Williams is a prisoner right now, having God knows what injected into her body. And David Estabrook knows where she is.
Yeah, she could be making the
You
problem worse.
violated the code and the law of our profession. You let your feelings drive your decision-making. And as a result, you've endangered not only Claire Williams' life, but everything we're trying to do here. If I can't trust you to control your own passion, Dunham, then I can't trust you.
Is there anything else you'd like me to run past you?
Not anything. Everything.
Nice line and nicely delivered. What are you doing with the mouse? Is it a mouse or a rat? It's gonna explode. Poor mouse. That's disgusting. That is so gross, and they leave it under the sheets with her?
Well, I think we actually might be making some progress. A couple minutes ago, Walter thought he might have isolated the compound that's in Emily Kramer's blood, but then he got distracted by the unicorn running through the lab.
Funny. Anything else? Got any more jokes?
We're all allowed to have our bad days. What's not fine is blaming it on me. I want to find it just as much as you do.
You're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had a stepfather. And when he drank, he'd accuse my mom of seeing other men and then he'd hit her. And then one day he beat her really bad and broke her nose. I was 9. Stormed out of the house, got in his car, drove off. My mom's crying. I can't help her. He kept a gun in the drawer, near his bed. When he opened the door, I pulled the trigger. Then I pulled it again. They took him to the hospital and said that he couldn't be saved, but he didn't die. He recovered. And then one night he just slipped away. And every year he sends me a card on my birthday just to let me know that he's still out there.
Oh, what an asshole.
It's your birthday today.
So her birthday is like the worst experience for her. Trace the card. Find him.
If you really want Estabrook, all you have to do is talk to your friend Nina Sharp. Massive Dynamic has 3 separate pharmaceutical divisions. They're all in direct competition with Intrepid.
Despite their annual budget, corporate espionage is wildly illegal. You really think that she'd admit that to me?
Not in so many words.
It's here somewhere, I know it is. I just have to look harder.
Ugh, it's so upsetting with her stepfather.
I'm going up. Okay. Peter! To be honest, I didn't even know you were here.
Oh, he's gonna talk to her himself.
Sharp. Hi. I'm Peter.
Peter Bishop, Walter Bishop's son. You're not the only one who's done your homework. You're suggesting that Intrepid is conducting illegal drug trials with human beings. That is a rather bold claim to make, Mr. Bishop.
Let's assume for a second that what I'm saying is true. Where would they do it? They wouldn't risk using one of their own testing facilities. It'd have to be someplace off the grid.
Are you willing to make a bargain? I give you the exact location you want, and in exchange, I get to come to you someday, and you return the favor.
Oh no. Don't do it, Peter. Don't do it. Don't do it. But he'll do it because, you know, we need that drama. God knows what the favor is going to be. It's going to be something bad.
You smell that?
Yes? And next time, how about a little warning?
Huh?
Jeez.
The chemical responsible for giving hyacinths their aroma.
So what about it?
I've been trying to determine what caused the radioactive capsules in Emily Kramer's bloodstream to burst at once. Methyl-eugenol is the key. That's what they injected her with. That's why these women were chosen.
They made her radioactive. They turned her into a weapon.
A bonding agent. That will work. That will interfere with the process.
How long? How long will it take to make the cure?
Oh, not all at all. Not that I know.
So he'll cure an actual disease that has no cure. That'd be really cool for an episode called The Cure.
When did this become the world we live in? Patel, Estabrook, these are the people we trust to take care of us.
5620 Stapleton Avenue. The facility where Claire Williams is being held. I had a friend track it down through the National Reconnaissance Office.
You have a friend at the NRO.
I have a friend who's cracked their control systems.
Peter, if I pull the trigger on this and the information's bad...
It's good. It's good.
And his little secret with Nina. It's going to create more drama with Olivia at some point.
Full tactical.
How are you? Almost there.
We're sure. This is the one. We've got a visible heat signature from the isotope.
Oh, Olivia, this is the antidote.
Okay, Charlie, we're coming now.
Listen to me.
He
You
needs
must
Peter.
inject this directly into her bloodstream, in the jugular preferably.
Okay.
We're expecting resistance, so this will be a tactical entry.
Our main objective is securing the victim, Claire Williams.
Step away from that, please. Where is she?
What did she just press?
Claire, my name's Olivia Dunham. I'm with the FBI.
Oh no, look at the screen.
I know you're scared, but I need for you to listen to me. I need you to come to the door. I can't come in there. Claire, listen
Is
to
that
me.
the
That's
cure, yeah?
medicine. I need you to come to the door and take it. I can't come in there.
Come on, Claire.
Good. Claire?
Oh my gosh, please let this be a good ending. Come on, just jam it, jam it.
Good, Claire.
It's working. Thank you. Cause I'm like, yo, this is getting a little too dark, too much death. It's like, give me a bone here.
I thought you'd be interested to know that Claire Williams is safe.
Can't say I'm familiar with that name.
That's odd. Because an employee of yours, Elizabeth Sarnoff, just admitted that you supplied her with the facility and the equipment to make Emily Kramer and Ms. Williams into human weapons.
Oh, she ratted him out.
I have a law firm on retainer that charges more by the hour than you make in an entire year.
Then I suggest you get them to meet you at the FBI. I'm still gonna walk you out that door in handcuffs for resisting questioning. So the press that I tipped off can splash your picture all over the news. You do answer to a board of directors. And I wonder what their response will be when they have their company dragged into the middle of a murder investigation.
Oh, nicely. Oh, that's great. With his money, with his business. That's the way to do it. It's a good mad face.
I guess by now you've heard.
Lady Frog marched the senior officer of a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate out of his office. Yeah, I heard.
I understand that you think I acted too emotionally. Putting aside the fact that men always say that about women they work with, I'll get straight to the point. I am emotional. I do bring it into my work. It's what motivates me. And I think it makes me a better agent.
I agree.
If you have a problem with that, sorry. You can't fire me.
You won't.
But I hope you don't.
You're not getting off of that easy, Agent Dunham. I'll see you in the morning.
I love that she promotes her emotion as a strength.
Travis stock is being absolutely pummeled in overnight trading, and analysts predict it'll open at $23 a share. That's a 10-year low, which of course is very good news for Travis's competitors. Most notably, Massive Dynamic. Shares of FE are up almost 12%, as investors cling to the most reliable brand in the sector.
Massive Dynamic. Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Olivia, did you lock yourself out again?
Actually, Walter, this is our hotel. Oh.
I need to talk to you.
Sure. I'll see you upstairs, okay? It's nice to see you.
Ugh, breaks my heart every time these moments happen.
The red toothbrush is mine. White for Walter. That's me. Right?
I don't know why that gets me so emotional to see that.
I know where you got your information. About Claire Williams. What was her price? What did Nina Sharp want in return?
Nothing untoward, if that's what you're worried about.
Peter.
You don't have to worry about me. I'm a big boy. I can take care of myself.
Thank you.
Peter cares a
No,
lot
his name was-
about Olivia.
No.
Happy birthday.
You better get back upstairs before Walter falls asleep in your bed.
He has actually done that before. While I was sleeping. Really not something you want to wake up to.
Good night.
Good night.
Bastard. Please give me an episode where she finds him. I mean, she has the means to trace him. So upsetting. So upsetting. Okay, this episode has a lot going on in it, so I'm gonna need a few, 2-3 minutes. I'm gonna browse through it, and some of my extra thoughts coming up. So much is unfolding. The puzzle pieces are coming together. Oh my goodness. This episode was quite jam-packed with a bunch of stuff. I had to pause quite a number of times throughout my entire reaction and give some extra commentary about what I was theorizing on certain aspects. But in a nutshell, in summary, I'll say that the first thing is Olivia. I like how in this episode it tied in very nicely and organically to her backstory related to her stepfather and the abuse that her mother endured and she endured as a child, and the actions she took as a 9-year-old to punish him, more or less. And he got away with it, and he's sending her these cards every freaking birthday, and it's so upsetting. Like, oh my gosh, please. I just cannot see how they won't present an episode where she confronts him, because it's not like they just gave her one scene where she talks about it. It ended off that way where she gets the card saying, thinking of you. Like, what kind of person is this guy? He is definitely a torturer for her on an emotional level, and she carries that with her. And on her birthday, it just exacerbates the situation and interjects into her mood, and, she takes it out on people around her. And that leads me to the situation between her and Peter, this developing, blooming friendship. I'm saying friendship like this because I don't think it's going to be a friendship for too long. It's quite clear that Peter has feelings for her, and she notices those feelings, but it's awkward for her and awkward for them as a whole because, they have a professional relationship. But at the same time, too, she's not over her feelings for John Scott. I mean, this is a man she loved, and now she found out in episode 5 that he had plans to marry her. Oh my goodness. All that drama. I'm here for it, though. I'm loving it. So the tension, though, between them is pretty interesting, and its intensity. I like that kind of stuff. Okay, third thing, which leads into the scene that stands out for me the most and what I'm going to be kind of hooked on that carries forward with the narrative revolving around Peter specifically. So the scene I'm referring to is his exchange with Nina, where she makes it quite clear not only does she know a lot about him, but she knows what talents could be useful to her and Massive Dynamic in exchange for information. And the deal he makes with her undoubtedly is going to come back and bite him in the ass. I can't imagine what kind of favor she's going to be asking him that may likely compromise not only his relationship with Olivia, but perhaps affect his father, because they are showing now that Peter is taking more of a caregiver role, but also, what's the best way to put it? It seems as if he now has an understanding with his father that kind of bridges a gap between them related to their past and perhaps painful memories with his mom, because that's definitely a sore spot that I noted in the last episode, or episode 4, was it? Yes. So the situation with him and Nina, that's unforgettable for me, because not only did it highlight Nina's manipulation of the situation to get what she wants for her own means, or her own ends, but Peter and his past and his shady dealings, which was very much highlighted in episode 1. So I'm looking forward to going back to watch episode 1 once I am close to the season finale, but I'm not going to do it right away because I kind of want to make it one big wrap up for myself. It's just how I process things. But yes, I'm very much taking note of a lot of the things happening now, always going back to what's been said in the pilot episode, which tends to be the case for a lot of series premieres, for most of them that I've watched anyway. So that leaves me with my Ashamoji rating, which is a 4. It's a great episode. Definitely rewatchable, and it had some really good beats and really good moments, and I love that cliffhanger at the end. As I said before, and I apologize for being a bit repetitive, I just cannot see that not being a foreshadowing of a massive confrontation between Olivia and her stepfather. And I'm curious to see who they're going to cast as her stepfather, because the acting in this show is just wonderful. And it's such a relief to watch a show where I don't have to worry about performance, because there are shows that are really good, but at times would take me out as a viewer because the performance is just so bad. And I've mentioned before, that's usually the forefront of things that I pay attention to in my reaction videos to any type of media property. Performance really does matter to me and does affect how I react to a scene. You know, if you see me kind of mocking a scene a lot, maybe not in the best light, is because whatever they're delivering is just not up to the quality, to the standards that I have for it. Anyway, but regardless of that, I don't have to worry about that with Fringe. I'm liking this show very much so far, and it's the characters and the narrative that is appealing to me, and I look forward to watching more. So, there you have it. That is my reaction to episode 5 of the first season of Fringe. Feel free to share with me in the comments any trivia you know about this episode specifically, with no spoilers. And if you want to watch my full reaction to this episode with extra commentary that only my club members get to listen in on, details about that is in the description box below, as well as details about supporting this channel if you do enjoy what I do here on YouTube. Therefore, until my reaction to episode 7, thanks again for tuning in. I'm peacing out. Goodbye. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and check out my other videos.